Against Burnley, it was Benjamin Sesko that stepped up with two big goals to ensure that Manchester United left Turf Moor with at least 1 point. Yet still he did miss 6 other chances. So why is this the game, more than ever, that made me confident that Benjamin Sesko is going to succeed at Manchester United, that he is full of potential and can be a top striker? It's pretty simple. Top strikers miss chances. It's what they do, or more specifically, they get into the position to miss a lot of chances. Who has missed the most big chances in the Premier League so far this season? Erling Haaland. This is proof that top scorers, top players get themselves into the zone to miss these chances. Benjamin Sesko had 7 shots on target in this match. Now yes, it's frustrating that he wasn't able to score more goals, he wasn't able to secure the hat-trick, but the fact that he got into a great shooting position that regularly in this game proved that his movement was good. To put it into a bit of context, Sesko had 7 shots on target in this game. In Rasmus Højlund's first full season at United, he had 21 in a full Premier League season, and in the next just 13. Benjamin Sesko had 7 shots on target in this game. His movement was absolutely incredible, and his teammates were able to find him. So let's start off with those missed chances, because even whilst he was missing chances, his details, his habits were all very good, and it allowed him to get into goal scoring positions. Now don't get me wrong, we don't need to go overboard here. Sesko still needs to do a lot more, he needs to score more goals, his all-round play can improve, there's things that he can work on. But the fundamentals here, the movement against Burnley was phenomenal. And it starts here, regularly finding himself between centre-backs. Not attached to one centre-back, not physically grabbing and wrestling a centre-back, but getting himself in between players and communicating with his teammates, but without actually talking to them. Benjamin Sesko here, he just catches the eye of Bruno Fernandes. They both look at each other and have that moment of, okay, we're on the same page here, let's try and make something happen. And Benjamin Sesko makes it very clear what he wants to make happen. He puts that left arm out, he shows Bruno where he wants to pass, and Bruno Fernandes is absolutely a player that can find that space. And the great thing for Benjamin Sesko is, because he's in between players, defenders can basically never see him. This Burnley defender here is looking at the ball. Benjamin Sesko is looking at the ball and the player. There's always this idea of a striker. If you can see the number of the defender, you're in a great position, because that means the defender can't see you. And for Sesko, that's what he's all about. Getting behind the defender, on the blind side of the defender, and then making that run in behind. And you can see the distance that he is able to create between himself and the centre-back, purely with good movement. And he gets himself into a great position, and it's not a bad effort, but wasn't a goal. Time for the next one. Initially, it looks like nothing is happening. Benjamin Sesko is just standing there on the edge of the box. He's not really moving, and Manchester United are playing the ball backwards towards Casemiro. Initially, absolutely nothing is happening, and the defender knows exactly where Sesko is. The defender has a look at Sesko. He knows where he is. For Burnley, right now, everything is absolutely fine. Until this, the defender looks at the ball, which he has to do. The defender has to know where the ball is coming from, so he takes a glance at the ball. This is when Sesko makes his move. The defender last saw Sesko here. This is where the defender last saw Benjamin Sesko, on the edge of the box, standing still, doing nothing. The defender looks away. This is when Sesko makes his move, and the defender doesn't even know that move is coming because he's not even looking at Sesko anymore. Sesko is again on the blind side, getting him behind, and again, it allows him to get that yard of space away from the defender, and this one was a really, really good headed effort. The leap is just insane. But again, it's the preparation before the ball comes into the box. It's that little bit of movement, deceiving the defender, which allows him to get here. Now, this next one is going to be a little bit different. This one is more about Sesko's reactions in the box, but also his footwork. And again, I know he doesn't score this chance, but the point is, if you're a young striker, if you're getting the small bits right, if you're getting your habits right in the box, then eventually, if you work on your finishing, the last bit, the goal is going to come. But to get into that position to shoot, there's so much work you have to do beforehand. This time it starts with Shaw on the ball, and I think Sesko's anticipating that ball in behind, and he makes that run in behind. But you will notice with Sesko here, he never really properly opens up his stride. He doesn't sprint into the box, he sort of jogs his way into the box. And this is important because it means that his feet stay close together. He doesn't open up his stride and really sprint into the box. He's still maintaining his feet nice and close together. And the reason why that's important is because the pass comes short. But because Sesko's footwork is good, because his feet are still quite close together, he's able to shift his body weight and turn. Right now, real quick, get yourself in your living room, I don't care where you are, get yourself into a sprinting position. The position you are in to change position, to change direction, is much more difficult than if you are standing with your feet much closer together. And Sesko knows this. So in the box, because his feet are close together, because he never really opens up that stride in the penalty area, he's able to quickly adjust to the ball. The ball is pass, and the pass is poor, and this is nothing more than a half chance. But because Sesko's footwork is good, he's able to plant that back foot, which gives his body that support to take the ball in, swivel, and then get the shot off. This is a very difficult chance. It's never really going to be a goal, but he makes something off of it because of his footwork being good. And just one more before we get to the goals. Again, Sesko doesn't score here, but he gets himself into a position ahead of the defender. He gets the upper hand over some experienced players at the back for Burnley. Now again, we can see what Sesko's trying to do. We can see where the Burnley defender is facing. He can't actually see Sesko. He's looking towards the ball. Sesko is in a nice position, sort of removed a little bit from the rest of the play, just that yard further back. But again, the important thing is, as that ball is going to come into the box, we can see Sesko's positioning. But Sesko's footwork, again, is good. He keeps himself grounded. He keeps his feet on the floor, which means when he needs to shift his balance, when this ball comes behind, backwards, he's able to shift. Again, if his legs were too far apart, if he was running at the time, then it would be difficult for him to change. But also, if he was standing perfectly still, it would be difficult to change. It's the fact that he's on his toes in the box. He's able to quickly dart away. And again, look at the space he gets away from the opposition defender before getting the shot off. Now, I think with some of the finishing, he needs to do better. But again, the finishing is sort of the last bit. You have to do all those details beforehand before getting the finish. And fortunately, on the next two, he got the finish. So it starts here, and we are going to see a lot of the work that we have just been talking about, and this is proof that the preparation phase is very important for a striker. You've got to play a mind game with the centre-backs, a technical and a physical game with the centre-backs, and also make the right run, and then eventually steady yourself to shoot at goal. It's quite a lot going on. It's not simple as a run in behind. And it starts with Sesko having a look at Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes returning the favour. Here, they sort of catch eyes. They see each other, and again, in that moment, they're communicating. They have an idea. They've caught each other's attention. And again, Sesko puts his arm up. He makes it very clear. Bruno, please, I want the ball in there. Bruno can see him. And we know that Bruno Fernandes can play that pass. Right, that's the great thing with having Bruno higher. He can create chances in the final third. But Sesko's movement is very, very good. And again, he can see the back of the defender. He can see the defender's number. The defender is looking at the ball. He has no idea when or where Sesko is going to run. So by the time the ball comes, Sesko is able to curve his run in behind, moving from one centre-back essentially onto the next one on the blind side to get himself into this position. And the strike is very, very good on this occasion. And then the second goal, very different to everything that we have looked at so far, but again, the ideas are quite similar. This is very much a 1 versus 1 between the striker and the centre-back, despite the fact that the ball is currently nowhere near them. On this occasion, there's a lot more space. It's 1-to-1. You're trying to get the upper hand. And I think the forward in these situations should always have the upper hand because they're making a decision. They are being proactive. The defender has to react to the striker's movement. And initially, it's quite obvious what is happening. Benjamin Sesko is making the run towards the right-hand side. He wants to get himself into the penalty area, as all good strikers should. In this moment in time, you might think he's heading towards the penalty spot, and that's where he's going to get his goal from. And that's certainly what the defender is expecting. And we know that because the defender has a look, as he has to do. When you're tracking back like this as a defender, you have to be aware of the space that you are covering. So he has a look at the center of the box. As he does this, Sesko changes direction. So the last time the centre-back saw Benjamin Sesko or was aware of where he was, Sesko was running towards the penalty spot. The defender turns away. He looks away for maybe half a second. This is the details we're talking about. Maybe just half a second. But in that time, whilst the defender is looking away, Sesko completely changes his run. He darts back to the other side. The defender now has no idea where Sesko is going, which is why Sesko is able to steal this extra yard across the front. And again, ends up in so much space. Now, importantly, again, the footwork is good. He slows himself right down. If you rush onto this, you are going to swing a wild volley or arrive ahead of the ball and get it all wrong. He slows himself down, he steadies himself, he's calm, and then again, the finish is very good. This is why the potential is so high. Now, of course, the performance from Sesko is still far from perfect. I think he could have scored more goals in this game. I think a couple of those half chances, maybe you expect to go into the back of the net. But I think what we have to point out here is why the preparation for the shot is so important. If I'm Bruno Fernandes, I'm willing to play the pass. I'm willing to take the risk because I know that my striker is going to make the run. Again, the communication is good between the two of them, but you believe in Sesko. The movement is good, so you're willing to take that risk. You're willing to supply him the ball because you think he's going to make something of it. Now, I think Sesko can improve on the actual shot itself. I spoke about this in a recent live stream. I think Sesko sometimes tries to be a bit too clean with the finish. Sometimes I think it needs to be just a bit more rugged, a bit more rough sometimes. Just get the ball in the back of the net one way or another. I think his mentality can perhaps change in front of goal, and I think that would help him a lot. He clearly needs coaching and leadership, and he's clearly still a very raw player with a lot to learn. What I would like to see in the box, though, is less perfection. Sometimes, particularly if he's sort of running one-on-one with a keeper, it almost feels like he needs to take the perfect first touch, he needs to set the ball in the right position, then he needs the perfect finish. What the top strikers do is they scrap it into the net. They hit it into the floor and it goes in the net, or they scuff it and it goes in. Sesko needs to add that a little bit, I think. Have that almost desire and hunger to score. I feel like the best strikers in the world literally live for goals. It means more to them than anything else in football. Sesko needs to get a little bit of that, a little bit of, I hate to say it, a little bit of that dog in him, right, in the box, where he's going to find a way. One way or another, he's going to get the ball in the net. I think we need to see a little bit more of that. And there's other parts of his game that could improve as well. I think he could drop deeper and link the play a little bit more effectively. There's moments where it's quite nice, and there's moments where he loses the ball. He's far from perfect. He needs a lot of coaching. But for me, the potential is sky high. Now, I'm aware this is a bit of a different video to what we have been doing recently. Recently, there's been a lot of tactical talk, talking about managers, systems, shapes, philosophies, ideas, and all of that stuff. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to sort of pivot in a different direction. We did something very similar to this when Lisandro Martinez was playing very well for United a couple of years ago, and we did something similar when Kobe first broke through as well. The technical details are so important. It's these small things that you don't always notice at full speed, but once slowed down, you see the subtle details. Those moments of eye contact between a runner and the player on the ball, the signal with the arm to make the run in behind, the mind game you're playing with that defender in front of you. These are the things that will allow Šeško, if he continues to do it, to repeatedly get into goal scoring situations. And as long as you keep getting into those positions, you would like to think over time the finishing will improve and the goals will come. But the goals can only come if you get yourself in the right position in the first place. And that's why this is so important. The 2 goals are great. I'm glad that he scored 2, but I was more impressed with the movement beforehand, because over a 10-year period, that's what's going to get him into shooting positions more regularly, time and time again. Again, he needs coaching, he needs work, he needs to develop, all of that stuff. But I think the foundation is there. I think there's clearly a very good young striker. We need to make sure we build up his confidence. Hopefully he can build on those 2 goals. Maybe this weekend against Brighton in the Cup. We need to coach him, we need to help him, we need to sometimes take him out of the team if he needs to be protected. Those are all things that we need to do. Manchester United have to get better at helping these young players really become everything that they can be. And in the case of Sesko, that's sort of a world beater of a striker. The profile, physically, technically, is almost insane. We just need to harness that and then enhance it and allow him to be the best player he can be. But that is very much a job for the future. In the present, I like the sort of basics that are going on there, and I think he can kick on, and I'm quite excited. But for today, there is nothing left to talk about, so I'm going to wrap the video up there. Thank you guys very much for watching this one. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.